Hey, everybody. We are in the building. Had a little technical difficulty as luck would have it, but I am so excited to be with you today. It's your girl, Saran Baker from Covered by Saran. And today we're talking dirty little money secrets. And tonight we're going to talk about money being spiritual. Many people don't realize it and don't know it, but tonight I got a very, very special guest. I consider him a friend and a mentor. He is a master teacher, speaker, author, 3 times over, and he is educating our community on so many things. And so tonight I'm so excited to have Indra Ali in the building.
Thank you.
Awesome. We got a couple people talking to us. Hey, Relevant TV, welcome. Just be sure to drop a comment in the chat if you have questions. We're going to get right into it. You know, I don't do a whole bunch of fluff. So, and you can relate to that too, because you don't do a whole lot of fluff. That's kind of how I even connected with you. So we're going to get right to it. So I got a couple of questions for you, and we might have some audience questions, and we'll just flow, right? We won't be that long, right? So let's just go right to it. You know, the title is Money is Spiritual. Why do you think, or why would you say money is spiritual?
What's another word for money? People in the chat, like, what's another word for money?
I don't see anybody answering. It's a bunch of people on here, though. They're not answering.
I'm asking you, what's another word for money?
Energy, currency.
It's currency. There you go. So currency is energy, correct?
For sure. Facts.
So just in the name currency, you know, is energetic. Mm-hmm. And you know, the more energy you have, the more money you can earn. It's hard to earn money when you don't have any energy.
Yeah.
Like if someone's dead, and I'm not meaning dead as far as deceased, but if they're dead, their energy's dead, they're lackadaisical, they're lethargic, they don't do anything, they don't get off the couch. Those people typically don't make any money. But the go-getters, the people that hustle, the people that put in energy, like we all know someone, especially you're from the neighborhood, that hustle. Right. All they do is hustle. They stay with money. They're always moving. There's a difference between kinetic energy and potential energy. Everyone has potential.
Right.
Everyone has an ideal, but not too many people actually apply those ideals and make it kinetic or put that energy into motion.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that. And that's why, like, even when I asked you to come on, I was like, I want you to come on. It's my 9th episode. You know, I get a little weird about numbers. But I'm like, I know you can relate to the 9. So I was like, this is going to be my first guest. I'm going to invite my guy, Indra. And so the spirituality behind the money. So do you think that someone who maybe hasn't tapped in, and even when you say the currency and the energy hasn't really fully tapped in, is there any way for them to actually generate that money? You know, bring that, because I mean, I'll give you an example. You know how you hear somebody always say, yeah, I'm going to be rich, but they ain't doing nothing. They ain't got no avenues. They just kind of not knocking the 9 to 5, but that's all they're doing. They don't have nothing going on.
But that's the thing, though. The people that's tapped in and getting money that way, they are tapped in.
Yeah.
I think it's a misnomer to say they're not tapped in just because they may not practice spirituality or view reality the same way you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like a Christian saying someone else isn't spiritual because they don't go to the church that they go to.
Right.
You feel me? So if somebody's making money, they're tapped in regardless. You may not like what they're tapped into, but they're tapped into something.
Yeah.
They're either living their purpose, they either feel the need, they either have a niche, they have something that they're tapped into. They're literally plugged into a void. If not, they wouldn't be able to create the money that they're creating.
Yeah. No, I love that because even in talking to people, everyone has a different perspective, and my job is to kind of get them to see the options to do with that money to make it grow and stuff like that. And so this one has been kind of heavy on me, and I actually talked to our mutual friend Jazz. We talked about this when I did a podcast with her. And the question that I kind of came up with for you is because we hear this all the time, right? No matter what your path is, money is the root of all evil. Why do you think that is? And do you think that's true?
I mean, obviously, I know it's not true. But I believe that quote is taken out of context. I believe it says the love of money is the root of all evil. I'm not a theologian or Bible, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty certain that there's something left out of that.
Yeah.
So if you put in this old context, like money is not the root of all evil. Papoose said a line, famous rapper out of New York. He said, "Money ain't the root of all evil. Evil people say that ish to deceive you."
I love that.
Money is a tool, just like anything else. If I see a knife on the counter, that's a tool. You can use it to cut meat or cut other things. You can cut herbs with a knife, or you can
Right.
cut people. But it's
Right.
just a tool. It's the operator that is the thing. You know what I mean? To take on the spiritual side, it's not the religion, it's the person, how they apply that religion.
Yeah.
Me having no ties with Christianity, I'll probably live a lot like Jesus, though. The
Right.
character Jesus.
Right.
If you look at his story, look what he represents, I probably live a lot like that. But I'm
I would
not
agree.
Christian.
Look, I would agree based on what I do know.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not Christian. So
Right.
it's all about the person and how they apply their consciousness to whatever tool that you're referring to, in this case, currency.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And I felt like this was important because, there's other things that kind of go around and understand this too. We hear a lot about the word manifesting. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to manifest, right? And you said something on one of the webcasts or conversations that we've had virtually where you said, money is man-made, right? So go make some. And I always see people say they're manifesting, but then I look around and I say, well, how are you manifesting? They're just kind of saying they're manifesting it. Like, what would you say to someone who says, yeah, I'm going to manifest this, but maybe there's nothing else?
The balancing part of that is woman infest. Is manifest. What's the balancing of that? Is woman infest. And what I mean
Right.
by that is the spiritual component of that. The
Mm-hmm.
manifestation is the physical representation or what you can see.
Right.
So it's the one, it's the number one. You can't see the number zero. Zero is the void, it's the unknown. But out of zero comes one, two, and every other number. So what I mean in that now, what I mean by that example is manifest is the manifestation. You bringing it forth to the physical,
Yeah.
but it had to reside in the spiritual in order to come out of the physical. The spiritual is the ideal or the seed. And it can
Mm.
also be pre-incarnation, if you would. Things
Right.
that happened prior to you coming to Earth. If that's too deep for you, I don't know what to tell you. You feel me? It's like welcome
But
to the Matrix.
what I heard you say when you said the woman festation, if I could repeat that,
Women infest.
women effect,
Just made
right?
it up. Oh yeah.
Of course, right? But I heard the womb where we birth things, which would be attached to the man, so balancing the feminine and masculine energy. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I heard you say because it kind of goes together to bring forth life. We look for the masculine and the feminine energy. So
Yeah,
I love that. Um,
very
you
true.
know, one of the things that I find interesting and in having in my conversations is, you know, um, people always say I'm gonna get my mind right and then I'm gonna do right. What would you say to someone who says they're gonna get their mind right? Do you think they should get their mind right first, their body, their spirit? Like, what would you say? Like, what order should someone say? Like, they're really trying to get their lives together, all together. What area would you say to start in? Of course, with the intent that they would obviously at some point generate some income.
Honestly, it would be determined upon the individual. We're all
Mhm.
different. I know
Right.
people know that, but when we start to do things, we start to compare ourselves to other people. And you may be comparing yourself to someone that may not be a good representation of what you can achieve in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So for some people, they may need to start with the body. Some people may need to start with the mind. Some people need to start with the spirit.
Right.
Like for me personally, I needed to do the spiritual part before I did other parts. I need to have a good spiritual foundation before I, become a multimillionaire and all that stuff.
Right.
Imagine being a multimillionaire, imagine being out there like that, so stuck in a matrix in this 3D reality, making money that long way, and
Mm-hmm.
then you neglect your spirituality. A lot of people suffer from that. They
Mm.
become unfulfilled because they don't have a spiritual foundation. So for me, I'm happy to I started with the spiritual aspect and then
Mm.
getting the mind right. Then you know what I mean? Then
Right,
trickle
right.
over to other stuff or whatever. But it's gonna
No,
be different for everybody.
no, I love that. Because even in thinking about my journey, I kind of paired this physical and the spiritual together. because I needed to work on my physical energy level in order to open myself up to working on my spiritual, practices and connecting the way I wanted to connect. So I love that, the difference. Um, the other thing too, because I was thinking about you and I was thinking about like the amazing individual that you are, because you didn't just wake up one day and start out this spiritual master, teacher, author, whatever. you know Tell me a little bit about your journey to entrepreneurship, because that's the way I see it. You're running a business, couple of businesses, if you will, and leading up people in our community back to themselves, to holism. Tell me a little bit about your journey, like where you started a little bit into like how you got where you are.
Man, everything I've did is, I want to say, on accident, because it wasn't something I kind of planned, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I came into the spiritual thing just wanting to know. I just wanted to be a better spiritual person. I had questions. I grew up in Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a neighborhood. So I had all these different thoughts implanted in me at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Also going to the school system. Yeah, I live in the US. The school system here is horrible. You feel me? I was like 30 something years old. I'm in my mid 40s now. Like me
Right.
and Saran, they're the same generation, for real, for real.
Hey,
But
hey, hey, I'm 25 on my show, by the way. Keep
oh
going.
yeah, pardon itself, pardon itself. You know what I'm saying? But going to school, like I was like 30 some years old before I realized that the so-called African American or so-called melanated people had more of a history than just slavery. I was
Mm.
literally 30 years old or maybe in my late 20s, but I was an adult
Right,
when I
right, right.
found out that, okay, people that look like me, history didn't start in slavery.
Right.
Because if you just let school, especially when I went to school, if you let school just tell you, all you're taught about in history is slavery and the
Mm-hmm.
dude that made a peanut. You feel me?
And Madam CJ straightening the hair.
Well, we ain't even get that.
Right, right.
We didn't get that. You was in New York, so you got a different education.
Yeah, right, right,
But I say that to say, when I'm a very inquisitive individual,
right. Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that take in more than what I share, because I just want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came into my path, when I was interested, and that light went off, the light bulbs went off, and my path became lit, and I started to see the breadcrumbs. I started studying the things that I felt in my heart and my soul was not represented by those who taught it.
Right.
So I
Right.
started to educate myself. We have this magical thing called Google that
Mm-hmm.
works phenomenally. You know what I mean? It works beautifully if you input stuff in there.
Right. Type it.
So I started reading, I started researching, I started looking at the history of slavery was one of the first things.
Mm-hmm.
The history of religion, what I call comparative religious studies,
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the proper term for it. Also look deeply into holistic health.
Yeah.
We have our oldest son is 21 and he had atopic dermatitis. And long story short, I changed our diet, went more plant-based, went on a juice fast, and started seeing everything that was on his body, his patchy spots on his skin started to disappear.
Mm.
No medicine.
Right.
So I seen something that I knew he was inflicted with, that the doctor said was incurable, that they
Mm-hmm.
didn't help, because I realized that they only practice medicine. They don't master medicine. Or Vedic doctors master medicine. Natural practitioners master medicine. But
Mm-hmm.
Western doctors practice medicine. So I was like, how am I going to trust my son with someone who's practicing? It
Right.
was game time for me.
Right.
That's a bar.
I
You
mean,
feel
that
me?
sounds like, self mastery to me. Like, let's figure out what's going on. And I kind of see a lot more people, even in the health realm, taking more steps to kind of look past what they have to add more holistic things to their practices. And things are changing, right? So let's shout out a couple people that we got on here. We got Jazz in the building. We got Sherelle, we got Anthony, we got Ray Denny, we got Kenise, we got a few people in the building. Go ahead and give us some comments. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. If you're on my Facebook, I got it on my phone because this thing doesn't always show me the comments. But I want to throw a couple more things at you and then we'll get off because I'm, again, straight to the point, try not to belabor this, right? But what would you say to, someone who feels like, maybe they shouldn't give when they're in a abundant place. Or no, that's not the way I want to say it. What do you say? How do you feel about giving and receiving, the parity of the two?
Well, it's a balancing thing. If you look at some of the people that give away the most money, they also make the most money. Now they have their advice from their accountants to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't deny the fact that they actually have to give away a good portion of their fortune.
Right.
So I know there's a balance as far as you do receive when you give, and when you give, you receive. It's very much like that. But what I don't recommend, what I don't do is count people's pockets
Correct.
and tell people, hey, you should be giving this. You know, especially in our community, we'd be like, okay, he made it out the neighborhood. Why doesn't he come back? Who are you to tell that person what they should be doing? Why
Mm.
don't you make it out and you become the person to do that? I'm
Right.
very much a do what you're supposed to be doing and not worry about the next person. In this age of social media, we have too many people worried about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Most of y'all that's watching, you spend all your waking days studying other people's lives.
Yeah.
It's called social media, it's called television, it's called whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Celebrities. On planet Earth, we look up the stars instead of looking up at the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense because the stars are shiny and they're bright and they end up blinding you. And
Mm.
you become fixated on something you will never achieve. So I'm big on just do your work, do what you're supposed to do, master yourself, follow your purpose. The same stuff that everyone knows to a person, but it's boring and people don't do it because it's hard work. Just like working, it's hard to work for yourself as opposed to work for someone else.
Yeah.
Everything that's difficult, usually people shy away from it.
But
So it allows the real ones more opportunities for real, for real.
yeah, and I love that because you know what, and it's the hard work. It's that grind. I heard someone say earlier today, you know, you wouldn't take someone who say they went to the military, you wouldn't put them on the front line. They have to go through that beginning, that boot camp, you know, learning the hard way, getting up at 3:45 in the morning, kind of grinding, because those grinding experiences give you the strength you need when you get to the harder places. So I love that. Um, and we talked a little bit about money being a tool and things like that, you know, because I do money, and one of the things I do talk to people about is generational wealth. You know, when you think about that, when you hear that word, what do you think? What would you say to someone who, you know, is really grinding, you know, really hard, and they really do want to kind of leave something, you know, for their kids, and but they don't know how. I know I teach people how to do that, but you know, they get into a place of, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? And you know, everybody's going to do their own thing, but you know, as a melanated community, you know, I talk to people about like why you should think about doing some generational wealth. How do you think that would impact us if we had more folks actually putting money into the community when they transition, you know, to their next phase?
We just need more examples of it, to be honest.
Mm.
Because this conversation is not popular in melanated communities, but in other communities, when I go golf with my buddies, my one buddy talking about trust and leaving trust for us, you know, that's the conversation they're having. I
Yeah.
never heard that word growing up, but I'm on a golf course with my millionaire buddy, and that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just hearing that, just giving off game. So we need to see more examples of that. I'm one of the people that I think definitely need their flower arrangements more. You know what I'm saying? Is Jay-Z.
Yeah.
He's giving a blueprint. That's a book. He got CDs
The
called
album, the
Blueprint. You
blueprint,
feel
right?
me? Yeah. But he's literally giving the blueprint.
Right.
You know, but people in our community will say, oh, well, look how he treated Dame Dash, or he's Boule, or I mean, all these different things, except the sheer fact that he's from Marcy Projects. He's a billionaire. That needs to be highlighted. But he's one of the people, and I'm sure it's other people, but he's a public example of someone that we can look at and reference and study and hold in high regard.
Right.
One thing about other people in their communities, they don't talk about their leaders. They don't let other people trash their leaders.
For sure.
We really need to stand up and be like, hey, these are people, and keep their back and support them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
we just need more examples of that.
Yeah.
It's a time thing.
And I love that you brought up the wills and trust. I actually did a whole series on that with my other video. We talked deeply about why it's important. And just to kind of drop this nugget on the viewers, you know, A will and a trust is for everyone. It's not just for the rich people. And don't get all scared talking about, oh, estate taxes. Well, you need to have $8 million first in your trust before the feds are going to come after you. And in some states, it's about six. It's no, it's 12 million in feds and 8 million in most states. So don't worry about that. Build up the plan, because guess what? If you passing somebody, you get to the point where you build up 20, 30, 40, 50 million, they'll figure out the taxes, because guess what? You still got 30, 40, you still gonna have what's left, you know. I'm gonna wrap up, but I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the chat. Let me check my Facebook real quick. Hold on.
Right. Hey, peace to everybody in the chat. I see you too, Caesar. Peace to
I
Caesar.
see.
Peace
Oh
to the
yeah,
God.
I saw Caesar in there. Then
And
we got
Relevant
Carolyn
Television. Peace
joined
to
us.
you.
Lonnie, Jermaine, welcome. So, you know, one of the things that I really, and I respect this about you wholly, because you have a healthy obsession with knowledge. And that's really what my quest is to educate, because I'm overly obsessed with knowledge. I got way more stuff to say than I ever say. You know, what would you say to someone who maybe they're starting either their financial or their spiritual journey? Like, where would you start?
Yeah, I'm big. Once again, I'm not the best at giving this, start here and do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I give answers that you have to look within yourself. I believe that's where all the answers lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so with that, I'm always going to be like, what was the first thing that popped up to you?
Mm-hmm.
And with that, don't look at that as the end game. Because I did some stupid stuff before I, you know what I mean, got into what I'm into now. At one point, I invested $1,000 into a shirt business. I thought I was gonna sell t-shirts. I thought I was gonna be the next Sean John or Fubu. You know what I mean? I sold probably no shirts. You feel me? So don't look at it like, okay, and that's another thing too. Don't look at it as like, okay, how am I gonna make money? Don't make money, you solve problems. Don't worry about making money, worry about solving problems. You solve enough, you have a solution for someone's problem, then they'll happily pay you. In my opinion, we pimp backwards. We do things, you know what I mean, but backwards. You know, you don't chase money, money chase you. You become a magnet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody that's very wealthy will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? They don't chase money. They become magnets.
You know, and I love that. You know, you don't do it with the intent of making money. You go and solve a problem. And I say it a little different. I say, go and help people. If you go help people with whatever their issue is, there'll be a way for an avenue for them to come back to you, right? And so even using the platforms that we're on right now, StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, all that, these tools that we're using, they solve the problem for billions of people. Because guess what? We're using them. We're using the free version, the paid version, the bootleg version, all kinds of versions. We're using
You said a bootleg version.
you know, whatever, right?
And you got the premium version. She ain't got the StreamYard watermark on there. You feel me? She on there. She up there premium game.
Listen, the thing is, and I relate to you in this, is if I want to do something and I know that it's the direction I'm going to go, I want the a la carte. I want all the options. I don't want to be limited when I get out here to do something. If I got Canva, oh, I use this twice, I got to get Pro. If I'm using StreamYard, oh, this is cool. What are the other features? Let's get Pro. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to, for me, this is a long game for me. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. This is me going into, you know, I'm one of those people who's crazy enough to think that I'm going to be doing this for as long as I want. I don't plan to necessarily retire. While I will have retirement money, but I'll be doing what I love doing, which is talking to people about money, helping them solve their money problems and change their lives. And hopefully, if they listen, 2 or 3 generations with their money. So let me see if there's any questions, because you know we got what? We're at 8:58. It was way longer than I normally like to talk, but I love it. I'm just so glad you were willing to come and join me for this quick conversation. Let's see. Hey, Aunt Regina. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Yvette. Yvette's in here. She's on my Facebook page. Hey, Tabitha. Let me see who's down here. Hey, Kathleen. Yeah, she said, be a problem solver of the needs of the people. Relevant. Sherelle. Yes, you need Pro. Hey, Divinity. Okay, we don't have any questions in the chat, but is there anything you want to leave us with? I definitely want you to drop your contact. I did put it in my post, so if people want to connect with you, they can. But anything, any closing words, anything you think, the masses would love to hear from you today?
Just my contact is indraali.com, and like she said, it has a link up down there. Just what's on my spirit to leave y'all with is like really stop focusing on comparing and trying to be like other people, man. Like y'all are being played, like especially like in the spiritual community. They try to make you feel like everybody needs to be like this. Whatever is the hot topic, whatever is the hot thing, that's what everybody want to be. But I'm gonna continue to say when I got into this spirituality thing, it wasn't popular. This wasn't popular. Being a weirdo wasn't cool then. It's cool now. You feel me? But we're getting out of the phase where it's mainstream, and now the real ones are being left behind.
Yeah.
You feel me? So all that to say, man, just stop comparing yourself to people. I recommend you stop comparing yourself to people, because it's hurting a lot more people than what they think. I see it every day. Comparison is killing a lot of people mentally, spiritually, and emotionally.
Oh wow, yeah, and I can add financially, because you know what? With that comparison, they're spending that money to get just like whoever they see.
Oh, them butt tucks and lip tucks and all that. Yo, tucking everything. Let it out. Stop tucking it. Let it out. You know what I mean? Real ones like real things. You feel me? But
listen, I heard a song on the way home today, and it said, "Shake what the doctor gave you." I said, "I'm done."
Wow.
I said, I got to turn the radio off, because I cannot do this.
I'm on the other side, and I think we need more men saying this, so women can be them natural selves. I respect naturalness. You know what I mean? So we need more men expressing that, because a lot of women are doing things because they think men like that. Men stop liking that, commenting and hearting all this fakeness. You know what I mean? Find some real ones and put that energy towards that.
Yes, for sure. I love it. I appreciate you. I'd love to have you back. We can always chop it up about
anytime.
Probably anything,
Anytime.
We chop it up in the virtual world on the regular. But I appreciate you, and definitely look up to you as a master teacher, and definitely respect your time and your energy. And so with that, that's all I have. We can end the broadcast, and I'll check in with you later.
All right, peace.
Peace.